The structure of ordinary days. Clara Weiss had always believed that daily routines were far more significant than people were willing to admit. To most individuals, routines appeared repetitive and predictable, yet to her, they represented the invisible framework upon which entire lives were constructed. As a behavioral psychologist based in Zurich, Clara dedicated her research to understanding how small, repeated actions shaped long-term outcomes. She was less interested in dramatic decisions and more fascinated by the quiet consistency of everyday habits. Her interest in routines began during her early years at university, when she noticed how differently her classmates organized their days. Some followed strict schedules, waking up at the same hour, studying methodically, and maintaining steady progress. Others lived more spontaneously, working in bursts of energy followed by long periods of inactivity. While both approaches occasionally produced success, Clara observed that consistency often led to more sustainable results. This observation led her to question the common assumption that productivity depended primarily on motivation. Instead, she began to suspect that routine, rather than inspiration, played a more decisive role. After completing her doctoral studies, Clara conducted a long-term research project involving participants from diverse professional backgrounds. She asked them to document their daily routines in meticulous detail. Participants recorded when they woke up, how they structured their mornings, how frequently they took breaks, and how they ended their days. Over time, these records revealed patterns that were both subtle and revealing. Clara noticed that individuals with stable routines often reported lower levels of stress. Their days followed a predictable rhythm, allowing them to conserve mental energy for more complex tasks. In contrast, participants with irregular schedules frequently experienced decision fatigue. The constant need to choose what to do next created a sense of mental exhaustion. One particular participant, a writer named Daniel, provided especially interesting data. His most productive periods occurred not when he felt inspired, but when he adhered to a fixed writing schedule each morning. Even on days when he lacked motivation, he still produced meaningful work simply because the routine guided his behavior. Clara found this pattern remarkably consistent across many participants. Gradually, she began to conceptualize routines as cognitive shortcuts. By automating certain decisions, individuals freed up mental resources for creativity, problem-solving, and reflection. Morning routines, in particular, appeared to play a crucial role. Participants who began their day with deliberate actions, such as reading, exercising, or planning, often maintained greater focus throughout the day. Clara also examined evening routines, which were frequently overlooked. She found that individuals who established calming end-of-day rituals tended to sleep better and wake up with greater clarity. Simple practices such as reducing screen time, reflecting on the day, or preparing for the next morning contributed to a sense of closure. Without such routines, days often felt incomplete and fragmented. Despite her findings, Clara remained aware that routines were not universally beneficial. When routines became excessively rigid, they could limit adaptability and create unnecessary pressure. Some participants reported feeling trapped by their own schedules, unable to respond flexibly to unexpected situations. This led Clara to explore the balance between structure and freedom. She concluded that effective routines were not imposed externally but developed gradually through personal experimentation. The most sustainable habits aligned with an individual's natural rhythms and preferences. During a public lecture, Clara posed a simple question to her audience. What do your mornings say about your priorities? The question prompted a moment of thoughtful silence. Many people realized that their routines did not reflect their intentions. They valued health but neglected exercise, valued learning but rarely made time to read. Clara explained that routines function as a mirror. They reveal not what people claim to value, but what they consistently practice. Over time, Clara began applying her research to her own life. She established a morning routine that included quiet reflection, writing, and a short walk through a nearby park. At first, the routine felt artificial, almost forced. However, after several weeks, it became a natural part of her day, providing a sense of stability and focus. She also redesigned her workday to include structured intervals of concentration followed by deliberate breaks. This rhythm allowed her to maintain high levels of productivity without exhaustion. In the evening, Clara adopted a simple ritual of reviewing her day and preparing for the next one. This practice helped her transition from activity to rest more effectively. As months passed, Clara noticed a subtle but significant change in her well-being. Her days felt more coherent, as though each action contributed to a larger pattern. She realized that routines did not eliminate uncertainty, but they provided a stable foundation from which uncertainty could be managed. In her later work, Clara explored the philosophical implications of routine. She argued that daily habits were not merely practical tools but expressions of identity. What people chose to repeat each day gradually defined who they became. Small actions accumulated over time, shaping character, competence, and perspective. Clara often emphasized that transformation rarely occurred through sudden change. Instead, it emerged from consistent, almost imperceptible adjustments in daily behavior. A person who read for 20 minutes each day eventually developed deep knowledge. Someone who practiced a skill regularly achieved mastery over time. These outcomes appeared gradual, yet they were powerful. Routine, she concluded, was a form of quiet persistence that reshaped life from within. Standing one morning by her window, watching the city awaken, Clara reflected on the simplicity of her own routine. The same sequence of actions repeated each day, yet no 2 days felt entirely identical. The light changed, the weather shifted, and her thoughts evolved. Routine provided structure, but life continued to unfold within that structure. For Clara Weiss, daily routines were not limitations. They were frameworks that allowed individuals to navigate complexity with clarity. And within the repetition of ordinary actions, she discovered something extraordinary, the steady construction of a meaningful life.